Good evening, viewers, and thank you for joining us on the Personal Injury Law Show, the program that takes you behind the scenes of personal injury and the law today. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, where you can post your questions and comments on our PI show topics. I'm Tony Carbone, a lawyer in personal injury. Tonight, an issue that could affect all of you is medical negligence. With me, I've got John Karantzis, an accredited law specialist. How are you, John?
Good evening, Tony. Good evening, viewers.
In short, a specialist, what is that?
An accredited specialist in personal injury law,
Okay.
Tony, accredited by the Law Institute of Victoria.
So it's like going to a surgeon?
In one sense, yes, Tony.
Okay. And also I've got Alice O'Kane, an up-and-coming star in the personal injury area of practice. How are you, Alice?
Good, Tony. Good evening to you and good evening to the viewers as well.
Well, Tony, what's in the news this week?
Look, we've got a lot of matters that are in the news, viewers, and the first one I want to talk about is implants like time bombs. Have you seen that article, Alice?
I have, Tony, and it sounds very serious to me.
It's at the moment there's a whole host of women around the world that have had these breast implants put in that are rupturing. The company's gone out of business and there's class actions. I know there's one in Australia and there's others around the world. What's your take on this, John?
My understanding, Tony, it's a French-based company. The directors are in serious trouble in France. There could be a global class action, Tony.
Well, it sounds to me that there's class actions going on in different countries. What would they consolidate them, or how does it work, Alice?
Honestly, Tony, it will really depend upon the amount of people involved, but perhaps for the viewers' benefit, a class action is where many plaintiffs who have the same cause of action, in this case many women who've had these same breast implants put in from this French manufacturer, get together and essentially pursue one action against the company for a multitude of problems.
What happens if the company's broke, John? Is there insurance?
Well, let's hope there was insurance at the time that the surgical procedures.
It all comes down to the time of the procedures or of the relevant injury, and it's likely if the company was in business when these women were experiencing problems that there will be insurance, but it is a big issue.
I would have thought that the governing bodies would have ensured that companies as big as this would have had insurance.
I would think so.
Alice, there's leakage in the silicone, I understand?
Yeah, and I understand some of the breast implants were rupturing, so there was a leak or some kind of defect in the way they were made, and so the fluid from inside the implant is ending up inside the woman's body, which is obviously very dangerous.
And I take it people can die from this.
I understand
John,
that's the case.
Some of the symptoms are hair loss, feeling tired all the time. You can imagine there'd be a range of things.
It's akin to having your body poisoned from the inside, Tony.
That's
exactly right.
That's right.
Oh,
it's a very serious matter.
Unfortunately, that's going to be an ongoing case, isn't it, Tony?
For sure.
It'll go for years.
There will be a lot of litigation, yes.
Viewers, the next one's a very interesting one because we've discussed it at length in the past. It's a Croydon clinic and late-term abortions. There's been a couple of cases where ladies have gone into the clinic and they've died.
That's
Alice,
right.
you know a bit about this, don't you?
I do, Tony. Very unfortunately, in the latter part of last year, there are two cases in point regarding this clinic. The first is of a 42-year-old woman who went in for a 23-week abortion, which is quite late term, and she unfortunately suffered multiple organ failure and she almost died. She ended up in critical care in the Box Hill Hospital, and she continues to receive treatment today from what I understand. Unfortunately, not long after this lady presented at the clinic, a second lady, also in her 40s, went in for a 20-week abortion, and she unfortunately died as a result of the procedure. It's very, very sad.
This clinic is no longer exists, does it?
No, it's still going. They actually had to change the name, John. At one stage, they changed it from the Croydon Clinic. I'll come up with the name shortly.
I think they call it the Maroondah Clinic for the Murray Stopes Foundation, which is a foundation involved in this kind of care.
It's very dangerous having late-term abortions.
Why is it
occurring?
Well, in 2008, John, Victoria changed their legislation to allow late-term abortions through the Abortion Law Reform Act, and this clinic was the only clinic, I understand, in the Southern Hemisphere which was performing late-term abortions as late as 23 weeks. As we know, in other countries such as the US and Europe, some babies at 23 weeks are being born alive, very prem and often quite ill, but it is possible. So it's a very serious matter for that reason.
John and Alice, for the viewers that don't know, this is a clinic where the doctor was accused of infecting quite a few females with hepatitis C.
That's correct.
And so that's the allegations, and it's been investigated, and there's also proceedings on foot over that.
That's right.
The other issue that arises from this is that they say that if you don't have this late-term abortion, then there's going to be backyard abortions.
All right.
The Health Commissioner has expressed some concerns about what might happen if the clinic stops to perform those abortions, but as you can see, a late-term abortion is a very serious matter, and there are a lot of complications involved.
So again, issues of negligence arise, Alice?
They can arise depending upon the procedure, especially if the doctor's not across or not fully trained in the finer points of performing a late-term abortion.
And consent and informed consent.
Informed consent will be a massive issue in this case.
Well, the anaesthetist at the centre of that last matter was James Latham Peters. That's still under investigation. There's still proceedings on foot over that.
Oh.
So everything at the moment are allegations. So we'll see what transpires in the future, and we'll bring it up again. The other matter I want to discuss is Nathan Bracken, the cricketer. He wants to sue the cricket board and also the Cricket Australia's physios.
That's right.
And doctors, because they say that they destroyed his career. What do we know about that, Alice?
Sorry, Tony, I don't know a lot about cricket, but was he a good cricketer?
He was a good left-arm bowler.
Really?
Yeah, he was up and coming, and in fact...
quite young, I understand,
very
Tony.
young when it all happened.
All right.
And
he's got an interesting hairstyle, doesn't he, Tony?
a bit like yours, John. But the thing is, he was very young, and he's suing for over $1 million in lost earnings, because what they say is that they forced him to play without properly diagnosing the problem with his knee.
That's right, Tony. In 2007, Mr Bracken alleges that he underwent an MRI for a knee injury, and he says that the doctors didn't tell him he should have undergone an arthroscopy, which is a low-impact operation to see what's going on inside an injured knee. And he says that he was encouraged to play with what they call bone bruising, as they interpreted from the MRI, and he ended up having some permanent problems. So he's up in arms about that at the moment.
I think he had a bit more than bone bruising, didn't he, Tony?
I think that might be the case.
They generally try and get people on the track, cricketers and footballers. But look, viewers, we've got to get our sponsors break. Please stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Thank you.